Staff Sergeant Eric Olson, retired. Warrior Summit Outdoors is a show about how outdoor challenges can help veterans heal the invisible scars of war. With 22 veterans a day committing suicide and countless others isolating, numbing, struggling to cope, we need solutions. For me, outdoor activities have been healing and therapeutic. Plus, it's always good to try new things, learn new skills in the relaxing outdoors. This episode is tackling something I've never done before, archery. No idea how I'll do, but I'll bet I'll have a good time trying.
Warrior Summit Outdoors is brought to you by Best Buy. Best Buy is a proud employer of veterans, transitioning service members, and military spouses. To learn more about job openings in your area, go to our website, www.bestbuy-jobs.com. For more information on Warrior Summit Outdoors, we invite you to visit our website, www.couragehealsthesoul.com. There you'll find information about your host, Eric Olson, some of our upcoming episodes, and more.
Eager to try something new, I arrived at Knockbusters Archery in Berwick, Pennsylvania to meet up with the owner, Mr. Frank Bello, who is also a competitive archer. How you doing, Frank?
Good, how are you?
Good. For starters, he gave me a tour of his awesome shop and all the products he carries. Just seeing it was a quick reminder of how very little I knew about archery. So I was happy to learn the day would commence with a sort of archery 101 in his workshop. There, Frank would hook myself and two other combat veterans up with the proper equipment, instruct us on the correct form, and give us solid advice about all the preparation involved in selecting the correct arrows for our bows.
The key, as far as I'm concerned, about shooting bow, whether you're hunting, competition, any of it, is the confidence part.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you're confident and if you're real confident in what you're doing, and like that deer walks up and you're like, oh, this is no brainer. I just aim dead center, and you got that confidence that you're not with the yardage. It works. It works phenomenal. Right. It really does.
Next up, Frank explained how he fits a person for the right size bow.
First of all, we'll check you. We just got to measure you across the back. Flatten your hands out this way. Fingertips out straight. There you go. And basically, okay, you're measuring 72 inches right on the money. I set this bow here for you at 28 and a half. Okay. Actually 28, but the half inch, like I said, when we lowered the poundage, I lowered it down. That gives you a little more draw length.
Okay.
So it'll be close to 28 and a half for you. It should be. The next thing we usually do is, obviously, you're going to pick out a rest. There's a number of different rests you could use. This one here is a drop-away rest. It flips up. When the bow is shot, when it jerks, it flops down. Okay. And that gives you zero contact with your arrow. Gotcha. If you have it set up right, you get zero contact with your fletching or anything. Flies right through it, and there's no deflection. An arrow is, very temperamental. So I play with arrows a lot. That's like, my wife always said, how come you have so many arrows? Because sometimes they shoot one bow better than another, different brands, different splines, different everything. Are you guys familiar with the splines on your? Okay. Easton, the higher the number, the weaker the spline. And the spline is the bend, how the arrow bends. The stiffness of the shaft. If you feel that one's a 500, and you can feel how stiff that one is. This one's a 330. You could feel you could see how they start stiffening. You can feel it's a lot rigider. Now, and that's determined by the poundage. Okay. So if you're going to shoot a 70-pound bow, the chances are you're probably going to need a 300 shaft, a 300 spline shaft, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is where the point's hitting, okay? And this is going through the paper sideways, and it's actually ending up through here. That's where it's going through. That arrow's not flying that efficient, okay? Obviously, you want the arrow to fly as straight as it could possibly fly for penetration, for accuracy, for everything, you know? So what I do is I work that out, and I do some yoke tuning, which is at the top of the bow here, these yokes. You could twist them, and what that does is change your cam lean. And here's the thing though, Eric, I mean, in all honesty, you could shoot this through the paper, it shoots a perfect hole, guess what? You're good, man. Yeah, you're good. You know, and then if there is an issue with it, you could change something, you know? I mean, but that's what I tell guys, you know, and every bow's character, like yours is a single cam bow. Single cam bows by nature usually are a little more aggressive. They call them a hard cam, a little more aggressive cam because of the single cam. But it depends completely on the characteristics of the bow. Keep our feet hip width spread apart. That's where you're most stable. And the thing of it is, like I tell everybody, if you put your feet real close together, I can push you. Yeah, I can knock you right over. So the stability part, it's usually hip. You keep your body perfectly straight. The perfect T form is, you know, they want you this level, and then when you bring your arm in, that is textbook, okay? That's what they want. So, and your head's got to be straight. So that T level, you come to anchor, and then you're going to turn your head to the target, and then you would execute the target. That's basically what the next step would be. Now, I want you to watch where the string is going to come in contact with my face, where my hand is going to be anchored on my face, okay? And now my arm's going to be bent a little bit with this because this bow is a little short for me, okay? But you could still be comfortable with a bent arm, you know what I mean? But you pick up, you draw, and then when you pull back, down on the target. Right? And then I always like kind of lock into my jaw. This is where I'm comfortable. So I lock into my jaw, and I let my nose touch. See how my nose is on the tip of the string? My tip of my nose is on the string. Yep. I'm looking straight down the peep, and that is like the form you're kind of hunting for. And then your follow through is when you're shot, you should break apart pretty even when you start squeezing your trigger. So the whole thing is your arm should be an extension of the arrow. But the bow don't move. That's 300, you know, you see it for yourself. That's 304 feet a second. It don't feel like, it feels like a kid's bow really when it shoots. It doesn't even, there's nothing there.
I felt a little bit more, but nothing to like really.
It's not that, yeah, it's not like you couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Lesson over. Time to head out to the range and put what we learned to the test. First up, we zeroed our bows and worked on tightening up our shot groups.
Good job. Now you're grouping. height, you just shot right. Remember, hold form, make a nice concentrate on aiming. And get that clean follow through. Good shot. Like 5 o'clock right below the top, right below the fence. Good shot.
Look at you, Robin Hood. After we all felt pretty comfortable at 20 yards, we stepped it up a notch. 40-yard shots at three-dimensional targets.
Okay, so on IBO scoring, you can shoot an 11, you can shoot a 10, an 8, and if you hit the animal anywhere else in the body, it's a 5.
Right.
Good shot. Solid 10. Good shoot.
Solid 10.
Solid 10. Good shot. That's an 11, buddy.
Not sure if any of us is ready to change our name to Robin Hood, but each one of us had a terrific time and plan to continue working on our archery skills.
I started archery, shooting archery. I was introduced to it at the age of 8 by a friend of the family. I started hunting at the age of 12, and I'm 56 now. I've been hunting for my whole life with the bow. I'm a competition shooter, which I started doing about 8 years ago now, and started to really enjoy that. And that prompted me to think about opening up my own archery shop. Today, I showed Chris and James and Eric pretty much how to set up a bow from start to finish, from purchasing the bow, setting the bow up, shooting the correct arrow, getting the proper draw length. We did some arrow tuning and testing. Also we chronographed them to see what kind of speed and kinetic energy we would get out of a hunt and setup. We then came here to the range where we sighted our bows in at 10, 20, and 30 yards, just to make sure that we were all sighted in and hitting properly. And then I took them out on a 3D course that I set up, and we took it out into the field where they got to shoot at animals, which they all did an awesome job. The mental game of archery is a tough game. I think the guy that could grasp the mental game the fastest is usually the guys that excel in the sport. The physical aspect is a lot of repetition, and I think anybody could obtain it, but I really do believe that the mental game is probably the hardest part of the whole game, whether it's hunting or competition. Right. They did really well. I mean, Chris shot really well, James shot really well, and so did Eric. I would say Chris, being that this is the first time he shot a bow, he did really, really, really well. He kept his arrows in the 10 ring pretty much. Shot the only 11 of the day. But it's a process. It's, you know, it definitely takes time, and everybody's on a different learning curve, and but it's all doable.
I think you just nailed it. You know, I think when you have a objective or a subject or whatever, you know, you just know the outskirts of it. It's getting into the inner circle of knowing exactly how it works. And so it was a total new learning process with a compound bow. I'm used to, you know, just using a rifle or a crossbow. So learning a whole new process is, you know, you have to be more alert. You have to be in tune with it, you know, and listen. And, you know, those little mistakes could, you know, mean big downrange. So I was gonna say, it's something to tie that into, you know, the military is, you know, when you're out here in an environment like this and you're being taught by, you know, one of the best, you know, you have that mind and mental focus, and you know, kind of brings you back to, you know, those moments of, you know, when you think you're on top of the world being in the Army. So it was a good experience. So it felt really good.
I grew up shooting recurve bow all my life, and I've been shooting compound since '07. I think I'm pretty rusty. I need practice. It's been a while. It's a long process. It takes trial and error to get everything right and find what you need. It helps to ease my mind, so I'm not thinking about intrusive thoughts or the past or what's going on in my life.
For me, there's a lot of days after a long day at work. I find a lot of peace in shooting my bow. I come out here, I mean, you'll see from, you guys filmed here today. It's a peaceful setting. I definitely unwind shooting my bow. There's a lot of times that's all I want to do is pick that bow up and go shoot it. It really does help you out with forgetting the work day and the stress of life in general. I mean, it's when I'm shooting, I concentrate completely on shooting, and it does put you in a different place.
I'm a coach. I coach travel soccer and high school soccer. So I know mental is a huge part in consistency. And that's what I was going in today with, with you know, a lot of mental focus and consistency, what I'm doing. So going with the mental focus is huge. And I think you have to build up some kind of repetition of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Then you have to go through and say, okay, well, this wasn't working. Then you go back and try a different set of, you know, how you're holding, your breathing, and everything else. And with compound, it's not like a rifle where it's kind of, you've been doing it for a while, you just kind of, you know what you're doing. But with the compound bow, you got that mental focus, you're concentrating, you know, on your pin, then your bubble, then you're breathing, then your release, and everything else. Then plus, and I can see when it comes to hunting time, that little heart increase when something walks in. So to tame all that at once, I think it's excellent.
I really honored that Eric had chosen me to do this show. I come from a family that had veterans in it. I know what them guys go through to a certain extent. I've seen it firsthand in my own family. I really appreciate everything that our vets do, male and female, that serve our country, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do here if it wasn't for them guys. So I just want them to know that I'm really thankful for what they do.
Eric Olson helped a lot of vets. You know, just he has a huge heart, does a great job. He thinks about a lot, thinks about it, you know, the veterans that have been out there, and building a relationship with them and, you know, being around them. You know, you get more and more comfortable, but he has a good sense of humor, which makes it a lot easier. And, you know, busting on each other, that comes back to, you know, being in the military. It's all about, you know, who's going to bust on who the most or the hardest. So we're kind of used to that. So whenever someone busts on each other, you just laugh. I think I got hooked today. I think with the great, you know, the great environment, the great, the coaching that we had and everything else, and I think I fared pretty well where I feel comfortable, you know, bringing it to a higher level. Absolutely. I think I'm leaving it at 30, and I'll keep working on 30, then I'll bump it up to 40, and I think that's probably my cutoff. But yeah, I'm excited to see this 80-yard shot.
We capped off the great day by watching Frank make incredible 80-yard shots with a big crosswind, mind you. Eat your heart out, Mr. William Tell. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Warrior Summit Outdoors. And as you saw, we picked up a new challenge. We did archery this time. For us guys that are used to shooting rifles, this was a unique new episode for us. And I think we did pretty good. You know, we weren't exactly Robin Hood, we weren't splitting arrows, but we took on the challenge. And everything in life is about taking and facing your challenges. And as combat veterans, we know facing new challenges is something that is indicative of moving on in life. And remember, it takes courage to fight the good fight. Courage heals the soul.